or any of its officers, directors, employees, other personnel, representatives, agents, or independent contractors is, in such capacities, a licensed financial advisor, a registered investment advisor, or a registered broker-dealer. None of VPM Partners or its personnel gives investment or financial advice or makes investment recommendations, nor are any of them in the business of effecting trades or directing client equity accounts or giving futures trading advice tailored to any particular client situation. Nothing contained in VPM Partners broadcasts, on its websites, or in its written materials constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, promotion, endorsement, or offer by others described above of any particular security, other investment product, transaction, or investment. Copyright 2014 VPM Partners. All rights reserved. Terms of use apply. Reproduction, adaptation, distribution, public display, exhibition for profit, or storage in any electronic storage media in whole or in part is prohibited under penalty of law.
Good morning, everyone. Friday. The summer continues on. Plenty hot here in Phoenix. Anyway, we're got a lot to cover here. There's some things that have happened since Monday. It seemed kind of odd going through the week and not doing a Wednesday show. But yeah, anyway, lots of things going on. I'm going to, in just a minute here, bring my cohort in here, Mitchell, and see if I can get him on here real quick right now. But yeah, we're going to do the same schedule as we have been, trying to do the first 15 minutes or so on the markets, primarily the markets. Here we go. Mitchell's on with us. Good morning, Mitch.
Morning.
So yeah, our goal is to just to get this thing set up so we can kind of go through what's happened, even though really what's happening. Last week we closed at the 1985 level. Now we're at 1961. We're off about 24 handles, I guess. The configuration kind of unfolded a little differently than expected. But Mitch and I were just talking offline a minute ago. Try to find a story on Portugal banks. You're going to find it on page 42. Yesterday, front page supposedly was the big spook for the market, and they sold it off based on concerns and about the European banks, and now you can't find a story. You have to Google it to find a story. It's not on the front page. It's not being talked about anywhere. And yesterday, that was the excuse. And what we've seen over all of these geopolitical issues that keep popping out, whether they're financial or otherwise, they don't seem to have any material effect, and it's like they keep trying to find a story that will break the camel's back, I guess. And there doesn't seem to be one. Everyone, you go, that was it. No, that wasn't it. It was just another story. And that's the continuation. It was way overblown. We can even see that the market rallied back from down 18, 19 on the S&Ps all the way back to minus 4 or 5. So most of it was gained back. Sunk a little bit, so net we're still down 11 with 326. They've been selling them off here in the last few minutes again. We've been seeing some selling come back in, but no real conviction, no real story. I guess we'll talk. We can talk about earnings, but Wells came out. What was the Wells news, Mitch?
I'll have to pull it back up. They missed earnings. I've been reading the articles about the other bank over in Portugal most of this morning, just trying to get a better handle of that. And while I pull up this information, for those that aren't aware, with this whole Portugal bank thing, the bank, Banco Espirito, or however you pronounce it, my Spanish is, or Latin was never that good. They're one of the largest holding banks in Portugal. And the parent company of the bank is the one that actually missed a payment. So it's 2 levels removed. And all the concern is actually about that higher level parent company, not necessarily the bank where all the assets are held. So it'll be interesting to see how this affects things. I know during our banking crisis, there were some concerns about some of the parent companies' stability. But I remember at that time, a lot of discussion revolved around whether or not they would spin off and sell off the healthier banks to raise revenue for these the parent companies that were having issues. So it will be interesting to see how this whole thing shakes out when it comes to
I can already
Portugal.
tell you how it shakes out. It's nothing. Because the reality is that it's just one of those things where it's echoes of the past. It's 2011 trying to bring back the Southern Europe crisis again, and probably not going to be material. Now that I said that, it will be. But seriously, there's not any. I mean, the fact that unless you live in Portugal, you don't know who it is, and Portugal's like Rhode Island. So, it doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things, and somebody can write a check. I guess the Germans can always write a check to bail out everybody. I guess they're the lender of last resort, so to speak, over there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on the markets here this morning. And you never talked about Wells Fargo, and that's what I asked you about. So.
Oh, yeah. So what it was is
So-
they were...
That was the point of the story, and we ended up in Portugal. How did that happen? Anyway.
They missed earnings for second quarter, as I recall. I'm just trying to find this article again that I was reading just before the broadcast.
There's that memory going again.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Just read it 10 minutes ago. Don't remember. Anyway, I always give Mitch a hard time about.
You dig into the
He
markets. How about that?
he doesn't grab little pieces and put them together, and he depends on his screen.
That's right. I developed the tools as my memory.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really bad because if you don't have your tools in, what
Yeah.
can you say? There's not much left, right? No, a digital image somewhere. So you finding it?
I'll dig it up. Why don't you dig into the index
Oh
first?
man,
And
I
after
tell
that,
you,
I'll give you
that
some
was a
solid
fail, I
information.
think. All right, so let's go and just look at the. I'm bringing up. We haven't looked at this screen for a little while. This is the 1 minute graph. This is a graph I use to trade intraday on, and there's not a lot going on. We're down 290 here. We did get back to on change up a little bit, and then we've faded back. You can see the market's kind of chopped down a little bit, but nothing material. There's not a lot here from a standpoint of it's a very short window of time from 8:20 local time to 9:10. So just about not even quite an hour worth of action here. One of the things I was looking at a minute ago, which I think is good here, is the cycles. My 24-hour cycles. These things hit spot on. We just had a cycle come in at 6:45 local, so 9:45 Eastern time, just right after the open. Had a little downside, and then it bounced. Here was our bounce back to on change I was just talking about, up a little bit, and now we've faded back. So we're good solid. This is, if I remember right, it's like a 66 bar cycle that has been hitting really well, and that cycle has see, what is that, 2.5 hours roughly. So you've got that working. So we're looking toward the last hour or so of trading to be another cycle in. So if we're trading flat to sideways, we could see a little boost in that last hour is what it looks like right now. From the standpoint of the hourly, you see that these cycles have been hitting spot on. There was a cycle yesterday right after the big sell-off, and then you can see we've kind of went sideways since. But the pattern that is setting up here continues not to be very destructive from the standpoint of the trend continuing on the downside. It's actually stabilized here. These are